Okay, everybody, as I'm sure you are aware, there was a horrific crash last week where a Tesla Model X crashed directly into an immovable concrete barrier and burst into flames afterwards after being hit by two other cars. The driver died. It was a mess. They say AutoPilot was on and it was engaged just before the crash, and the driver did not do anything to stop it. If you want to have any more information about all this stuff, I got plenty of videos on that, but I'm trying to make this quick. I'm trying to make this a quick video where you can see the actual road of where this crash happened. This is Highway 101. The whole thing here is Highway 101, and this left lane is the lane that they were taking to get off the expressway onto the, I think, like the carpool lane, something like that. And you can see there's differences in pavement here which may have contributed. And this lane here on the right, these two lanes will split and be a concrete barrier will be placed in between them, which is where the SUV crashed. So I want you to see how this was and how AutoPilot may have reacted to it. We're just kind of, making this stuff up here, but I do believe this is fairly accurate description of what happened. Okay, you move forward. As we're moving forward, you see that the line becomes solid. It was dotted in the center. It becomes solid, and you can see there are two white lines that split on either side. Now, this is a potential factor here with the pavement being different. AutoPilot could recognize it as a lane, but we're going to make the assumption here, I don't like to make any assumptions, that AutoPilot recognizes this as an actual lane. The yellow line on the left and the white line on the right. And let's move forward just a little bit in the picture. Okay, you can see solid white now. Now, we're figuring that this Model X is going on the carpool lane side, which is the left lane. Solid line, should be clear what lane they're in. But here comes the problem. Watch carefully. Watch the space in between the two lanes increase. Okay, right here. Let's see if I can zoom in on that. You see my finger? This space is starting to open up. And when it opens up, that could be very ambiguous to the computer system that's controlling AutoPilot. I mean, you can see clearly here that there's a sign here that you go on the main road to the right or you go over to the left, and there's nothing in between. But the computer, the AutoPilot system, especially if it was turned on late, may have thought that that was part of the road. Now let's see. I'll move slowly forward. Now here's something interesting. I'm just noticing this now. You notice this difference in pavement. Well, it could easily think that this is a lane and this is a lane, the line on the right, which would mean that this is a lane opening up right here. You see that? So it wouldn't recognize this path as a lane. It would recognize this path as a lane. There's no cars in it. Cars are hugging that white lane, and there's a difference in pavement here. You see that? So the computer, instead of thinking this is the path to take, may think this is the path to take, and this path leads directly to the barrier. Watch as we roll a little more video. Okay? Now, again, let's figure that instead of the computer recognizing that this is the path to take, it's recognizing this is the path to take. You see, because it's almost like another lane right beside cars which are staying in their lane. So it's going to think this is the path to take. Again, we're guessing, but I have a feeling this is what happened. Again, as we approach, we see it again. Well, it's going to become clearer, I guess, to the computer that this is the path to take. Well, it should be going over here. It's not. It's going here. Let's move forward again. And as we move forward, if it's on that area hugging those cars, okay? And a lot of times the logic in these AutoPilot systems is designed to recognize if cars are thinking this is a lane, we're going to see cars in the display, well then this must be the next lane, right? Not necessarily this, but this. And as we travel a little bit further, this space opens up even wider, right? It used to be small, but now it's wide enough to fit a car in there or a vehicle. So it may not have been sure at first, but now maybe it's definitely sure, or it thinks it's sure, but that's a deadly mistake, because if it was sure this way, but we can see how it got off of here, it's now sure this way, and that is a horrible mistake, because as you see, as we get a little closer, Well, that may look like a lane. Autopilot may be interpreting that as a lane, but this is the real lane, and this lane ends with this immovable concrete barrier all of a sudden grinding that Model X to a complete halt, especially because the crash attenuator was missing, a lot of that was missing. Instead of there being barrels of sand, water, or steel in the way to crush, there was almost nothing. Let's see. Okay, wow. So you see, if the autopilot was in this lane, thinking this is the lane, and why, you just saw me explain as to why you would think, why the system might think this is a lane. It's not going to go here. It's not going to go there. It's going to hug those cars. It's going to go right to that barrier. You see it's clearly a barrier right now, and it's not going to move. Even in this picture, you can see it's only got a tiny bit of steel, a couple feet, and then solid concrete behind that. And it would have been going full speed and just hit that. And see, this is low. Look at the size of these cars. And if you've seen some of my videos too, where I've gone in there and tried to have a pedestrian crash test dummy, a lot of times it didn't even recognize that. And this is small. This is not like a car in the road, right? This is more like I don't even know what. It might recognize it just as a small barrel or a part of a tree or something that fell in the road. Not something that it has to avoid because of a massive collision, because it's not going to move. This stuff, it's straight barrier, concrete behind it. It's not going to move at all. That's the problem. And that's what caused the severity of the crash. So you can see that. That was it. Anyway, that was terrible. And let's move back just a little bit in this again so we can see it again. Let's do it kind of at a little bit higher speed this time, just so you can see the system. You see, it wouldn't recognize it. It would crash right into it. And that, in my mind, is what happened. That's why it happened. Unfortunately, the system's still in beta, and it doesn't recognize these subtle differences in things and really specific things about each road. It just doesn't. It has to interpret them as it goes. It's not going off so much computer learning right now and all this information in its databases, like a GPS system or a map-based system. It's just not, in a lot of situations. I've experienced it myself. Just search my channel. There's all kinds of autopilot testing. Anyway, thanks for watching. It was not so good to have to go through that, but I do believe that's what happened. And if you want to see some more about the crash, I've got some other videos. If you search my channel specifically, you'll find them. Please leave your comments. Let me know what you think about this. Obviously, I know what the fix here is. The system's got to not be in beta, right? And it's got to take into consideration all these things and actually be much more aware and have much more data and be more level 5 really to have missed this. And if it's level 5, it would have totally missed this. But the thing is, right now the autopilot system is kind of in an in-between spot, and Tesla knows it. That's why they say it's beta. What do you say? I'd be really interested to read your comments. Thanks so much for watching.